So today we're talking all about short game. I'm going to show you just how you can play shots around the green with different flights, different trajectories and different amounts of spin by making use of what I call the short game toolbox. And then we're going to find some real life situations around the green. And I'm going to run you through my thought process and what I do in order to change my technique to get that ball close and help me get up and down more often. So having a great short game is really just about solving problems. You miss a green, the flag is in a certain position and the golf course basically says to you, can you get your golf ball close? And in order to get your golf ball close, you often have to change the type of shot that you hit. You maybe have to hit a lower shot with less spin or a higher shot that stops a little quicker. You might have the ball sat in a different lie. It might be in long grass or short grass. And so the more skills that we have to utilize, then the more likely it is that we're going to get the ball closer and get up and down a little bit more often. So this video is going to be kind of split into two areas. The first part is going to be explaining what I call the short game toolbox. And that really enables me to hit these shots around the greens on different trajectories. And then we're going to find some different scenarios around the green where we can actually run you through exactly how I would approach the shot, my thought process, explaining why I choose the shot that I do, and then how I use that toolbox to hit the particular shot. Now we're talking about scenarios that I call scrambling. So we're not really covering very short chip shots just off the green. For those I would be tending to use often lower loft, maybe 7s or 8s or 9s. And we're not really talking about, pitch shots at sort of 50, 60, 70 yards. We're talking of those kind of middle distance shots where you've missed the green and you have to do something different with the ball. Now, for the purpose of this video, to explain how we use the toolbox, I'm going to be using my 56 degree wedge and I'm going to use that for all the shots. But we're going to need to change the trajectory. And in order to do that, I have to make changes to my technique. So effectively, when I take a standard setup, my standard setup gives me what I class as a mid-flight. It gives that ball that kind of middle trajectory, not too high, not too low. The spin is middle. And that's the shot I want to go for if I can. That's the one I want to choose where possible. But very often that isn't the case. And I have things that I can do to make the ball go higher. And I have things that I can do to make the ball go lower. And then I can choose from those when I'm in any situation around the green. So the first thing that I could do in order to change the trajectory of the shot would be to change the loft on the golf club. So if I wanted the ball to go higher, I can effectively rotate the golf club away from the target or open the club face. That is something that I can do to make the ball go higher. If I wanted the ball to go lower, I can push the handle more forwards of the club head and that will de-loft the club and that will make the ball go lower. So there are my first two options that I can choose from in order to change trajectory. The second thing that I can do is I can change the distance that I stand from the golf ball. So if I wanted the ball to go higher, I would stand further away and I would get the grip of the golf club lower to the ground. That will make the ball go higher. To make the ball go lower, very simply, I do the opposite. I move that handle higher and I walk in much closer to the golf ball. That's what's going to give me a lower flight. And the final thing would be how I release the golf club down at impact. If I feel like I have what we call a very long arc with the grip on the way through, or I don't release the club much at all, that helps me keep the ball flight down. Or if I have a very narrow arc with the grip and I let the club head pass quite excessively, such as this, that would make the ball go higher. So what you can see here is that I have things that can make the ball go higher, things that can make the ball go lower. And it's my job on the golf course to choose from each of those options to make the ball do whatever I need it to do on the golf course. So let me go ahead and hit one to this flag here. And I'm just going to hit what I class as my basic shot. And then we're going to find some different scenarios around the green and just see how I would actually use that toolbox to get the golf ball close. Okay, so it's not too bad. It's come up a few feet short, but not too bad. So now we're going to go, as I say, different scenarios. I'm going to show you just how I use that toolbox to get me closer to those flags. So here's my first scenario. You can see that I've missed the green to the right. I'm not in a fairway, but it's actually a very good lie in the first cut. It's not the longer rough. Now, when the lie is good, it really means that all of those options that you can see on the screen are available to me. Suddenly put myself in a poorer lie and some of those get taken away. If you look at the situation we've got here, maybe not easy to see from the camera, but the green tends to run away from me a little bit down towards that flag. It's not extreme, but there's a little bit of a downslope. And I don't have a lot of green to work with. So those things are sort of trending me towards feeling this needs to be a slightly higher shot. I need a little bit more launch angle. I need the ball to drop a little softer so it doesn't roll too far on the green. So I'm looking more down the right-hand side there on what can I use as from my toolbox to make the ball go a little higher. Now, I'm actually going to change the loft of the golf club at address. And the reason I'm doing that one is because for me, I find it easier to change something in setup rather than mid-swing. So this for me is going to feel like a very, very normal setup where I don't change the distance of the ball, I don't change my release, but I'm actually rotating the golf club and opening the face at address. Now from there, I should be able to play my normal pitching motion and the ball should have a little bit more height and stop a little quicker. There's a little extra height, landed on the green, and it's rolled out to, we'll call that 3 feet, just right of the flag. So the standard shot where I don't change anything, to me, I thought that would give a slightly lower ball flight and roll too far past. I grabbed something from the right-hand side to make it a little higher, and that's exactly what happened to the golf ball. So let's find another situation. Now this situation is actually quite similar to that first one. The lie is not bad, but it's slightly longer grass, which suddenly suggests to me that I'm not going to be able to get as much spin in the golf ball. I've got to carry, obviously this rough, the bunker, and then I'm actually landing onto, because of the angle I'm at, a little bit more of a downslope with very little green to work with. So again, I need a higher shot. Now, based on that first shot we just hit, I believe this one needs even more height off the club face and an even softer landing to the green. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use more things that are on that right-hand side because those things make the ball go higher. We chose one previously. So on this one, I'm going to grab all 3. At address, I'm going to open the club face. That's going to give me more height. I'm going to stand a little bit further away and get the grip a little bit lower to the ground. Again, it's going to help me with some height. And I'm also going to get that club to accelerate past my hands a little bit more through impact and feel like I get a much narrower arc on the way through with the grip. So as you can see, as I require more height, I grab more things from that right-hand side. Now this one, a little bit more difficult shot, so my expectation is going to be a little bit less as well. I'd be very happy with anything probably inside of, to be honest, inside of 12 feet would be absolutely great. So face is open, grip gets lower to the ground. I'm taking a little wider stance to help me do that. And then the final thing is a more in-swing change, which is this release through this way. Now this should give me a lot more height and should hopefully help me stop that ball even quicker on the green. Okay, and I'll be very, very happy with that. Even that's rolling probably a couple of feet past, a little bit left, but you can hopefully see the difference in the trajectory there because I grabbed all of the 3 things on the right-hand side. So depending on how much height you need, you can grab one of those, 2 of those, or all 3 if you need to. Now it might be quite rare that you grab all 3, but there will be situations on the golf course where you do need that extra height. So now we're in a completely different scenario. I don't really have much of this grass before I reach the green, but then I have got a lot of green to work with. So this really wouldn't make sense to hit the same shot as we've just hit. We don't need to fly that ball right up in the air. We actually want to get this ball onto the green and rolling out to that flag. Now, what's a little bit more difficult to see from those camera angles is this grass is actually lying a little bit into me. Now, what that does, it makes it a little bit more difficult for me to guarantee the strike, and I would like my golf club to be a little bit steeper into this golf ball. Now, the good thing is the things on the left-hand side of the screen, those things that make the ball go lower, will generally make the club approach the ball a little bit steeper as well. So the fact that the lie is okay, but the grass is growing into me, and the fact that I probably need a lower shot actually works quite well, and I can do some things to make the ball go a little lower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the handle forward of the club head. That takes loft off the golf club. If I'm going to push the handle forwards, I probably want to walk forwards as well. So effectively, I'm putting the ball back, but really what we're trying to do is actually take loft off the golf club. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the handle up. I'm going to stand in a bit closer. Again, that's something that will make the ball go lower. And the final thing is I really don't want to feel as if the golf club overtakes my hands at all through the hitting area. I want to feel like the grip has got quite a long arc on the way through. So I'm actually choosing all 3 things from the left-hand side of that screen to make this ball fly lower. What I obviously need to do, because the ball's going to fly lower, it's going to spend more time on the green, I need to read that green like I would if I was putting. But as I push the handle forwards, stand a little closer, and then keep that arc nice and long on the way through, we should get a lower flight with a little bit more rollout. So you can see much lower flight, and provided I've got the distance right, that should end up pretty close. Okay, but you can see the difference in the follow-through position there versus the previous shot. Longer arc, not letting the club head pass because I'm trying to flight that ball lower. So the lie, the fact that I had lots of green to work with, really meant that called for a lower shot. So again, it's the left-hand side, and then it's a choice of, do I want to grab one of those things, two of those things, or all three? And it really depends on how low I wanted to keep that ball. For that shot, quite low because I had lots of green to work with. Now this particular shot, I'm not going to say it gets more complicated, but there's a few more things to factor in. If you look at the situation I'm in, I've probably got 4 paces to the green, and then, you know, probably some 25, possibly even 30 feet to the flag. Now, if I'm just looking at what the ball flight is that I need, my standard shot would work absolutely fine. I don't really feel like I need to hit that ball much higher or much lower. I just think I've got enough room to play a mid-flighted shot, land it on the green, and let the ball roll out. However, the thing that's playing a bit of a havoc here is the fact that the lie is quite thick. That ball is sitting not too bad, but the rough is quite thick around the golf ball. And my experience tells me that that's likely to grab the golf club as I approach the golf ball. So the speed of the club will change significantly as it finds the grass that's around the ball. This is where it's quite easy to kind of hit that duff shot and it just goes a few feet in front of you. So what I'm really going to do here is I'm going to take some practice swings, and I'm going to be thinking about that mid-flighted shot. And as I make that practice swing, to me it feels like the grass grabs my club a little bit too much. So what I would really like to do is be able to hit this shot with a little bit more force. As I apply a little bit more speed, I feel like the club goes through the grass a little bit better, and I would feel more confident that I'm going to guarantee the strike. But obviously I don't want to hit the ball too far. So as I increase my speed to get my club through the grass, I'm going to add some height. I'm going to grab something on that right-hand side, because if I want to swing the club faster, which I do, I need to make sure that energy doesn't go that way, it goes more upwards. So this doesn't really call for a higher shot. It's only the lie that really influences my decision to do that. So I'm going to take my normal setup, but I've got the club face quite a long way open, which is going to mean that I can have more speed, I can be more committed, and I take away the chance of that duff shot. And there you can see that higher ball flight. That might roll just a couple of feet past, but actually from that situation I wouldn't be unhappy, because I was fairly confident that my choices meant that I was never going to duff it a couple of feet in front of me and be faced with that same shot again. Now for this last shot, we're going to just run through the other thing that's available to you, and this is really where it comes down to you as the golfer, your decisions, and understanding, I guess, where your skill level lies. Situation I'm in here, I look at this shot, the lie is good. For me to get this ball close, I probably need something that's a little bit higher. Generally speaking, if we start to increase the height, we increase the spin, so it lands a little softer and it grabs a little quicker. However, in this situation, if I was to play my standard shot, where I really don't do anything with the ball flight at all, we might accept that the ball will roll some 10 to 12 feet past. That's absolutely fine. So we don't have to hit the shot that the course tells us to, because we might not be particularly skilled at that shot. So understanding, you know, first of all, what the shot is ideally, but then actually you have to make a choice. You may well choose to play that mid-flighted shot as I've done there because it's safer. You give yourselves 10 to 12 feet and you've got yourself a chance at making that par. So whilst understanding the shot is important, you have to make the best decision for you on the golf course. You know, that super high lob, you might not be great at it. The super low one, you might not be great at it. So that's where we really need to focus on our practice away from the golf course to build that skill set so we are able to play those shots a little bit more often. Now, a really important message here about practice and how you structure your practice. What you'll notice as we've gone through this video is the trajectory kind of indicator at the bottom has been moving one way or the other to kind of suggest what I'm trying to do. What you'll hopefully notice is that it never went right to the extremes. It never went over onto that right-hand side and way over onto that left-hand side. In practice, I would really encourage you to push your high and low shots as far as you can. So push your high shot right to the extreme right-hand side. So you open the face as much as you can. You lower the handle as much as you can. You release the club as much as you can. You do everything to the extreme. And the same would go for the lower shot. You know, you try and make that ball go as low as you can. So in practice, you're really trying to push the extremes of what you can do. On the golf course, you probably would never go that far. As we've demonstrated here, you'd be pushing it a little higher, a little lower. And what that means is you're always playing within your comfort zone. Because you've practiced the extremes, everything sort of less extreme feels okay and it feels comfortable. Golfers often struggle around the greens when everything they do feels uncomfortable. And very often that happens because they don't practice the extremes. So have a bit of fun in your practice. See how high you can hit the ball, see how low you can hit the ball. Just push the boundaries of what you can do. On the golf course, you will then always feel in your comfort zone. So the Short Game Toolbox is a great way for you to add some skills to your game, add some shots to your arsenal, and that will help you get closer to the flag when you're around the greens. I really hope the demonstrations that we've gone through here and the thought processes will help you next time you practice and play to get up and down a little bit more often. Thanks for watching. Usual stuff is down below. There's a comments box down there, there's a like button. And if you're not a subscriber to this channel, I would love you to do that. It is absolutely free. And I really believe these videos and this community can help you play some of the best golf you